There seems to be a dichotomy of interpretation in the laws and the practices of Nigeria. One law for the rich, the other law for the poor, which is a situation that demands urgent attention by every well-meaning Nigerian. Welcome to the Diary of a Broken Man, where we discuss political, economic and social issues bordering the country, Nigeria and Africa as a whole. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe, share, like and comment for us to be able to get more content like this. Support our channel. Today on the Diary of a Broken Man, we talk about governance and institutions in Nigeria. Then we look at corruption and accountability. Wherein we look at people like EFCC and ICPC, their overviews and limitations. Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) was established in 2002. The EFCC is Nigeria's leading anti-corruption agency, tasked with investigating financial crimes like money laundering, embezzlement, and fraud. Its successes include high-profile prosecution, but it faces several roadblocks and limitations, which we'll talk about now. The first is political influence. Now, there is this perception that EFCC's actions can be influenced by political interest, which can undermine its independence and effectiveness. Is it a lie or a truth? We all know the answer. We've seen cases of high-profile cases of politicians being swept under the carpet. Nothing happens. But every Eke market day, 30, 40, 50 youths are brought out and their mug shots taken, pasted on the internet for one offense or the other. Politicians are sacred cows. I said it before. Nigeria has two laws, one for the rich, the other for the poor. The rich always has a way to escape. Somebody steals 5 billion naira and he pays 500 million, and he's set free. The bail is set for 5 million or 10 million after stealing 5 billion, which would have been used to develop the country, build schools, develop roads, build basic infrastructures like train stations, bus stations, and things like that. I don't know where we are going to as a country. Number two is judicial challenges. Sometimes they face hurdles. EFCC, so many cases are struck out in the courts on the basis of technicalities. Well, we've seen it before. We saw that in 2023 after the general election, where so many of the charges brought were struck out on the basis of technicalities, not because the evidences were not there. We no longer deal with facts, we deal with technicalities. Whether you brought it on time or you brought it through this means or that means. No longer do you have evidence for this or that because the court deals with facts. But Nigeria's situation seems to be different. Remember, we have two laws, one for the rich, the other for the poor. Selective prosecution. While it is argued that EFCC may have been used as a tool for fighting political opponents, it's also like a weapon fashioned against the youths of Nigeria. Because if they use the same energy they use on the youths, arresting young boys and young girls, going into their hostels, breaking into people's homes in the dead of the night, wherein we saw a situation where one of them was gunned down for breaking into people's homes. No warrant, nothing, no rule of law. Just break into people's homes in the dead of the night. You are doing the government's work. And unfortunately, somebody said, you try, you see. Whatever you see, you take. It's unfortunate. May his soul rest in peace. Another part of agents fighting corruption in Nigeria is the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the ICPC, which was created in 2002. This has a bit less visibility. They are not often seen like the EFCC. Their activities are always very quiet and they work like cold fight. Theirs is not to come to the media. They don't They don't post on media. They don't grant, press conferences. They do their own work on the ground. Whether they are doing it or not is a case for another day. So, the ICPC operates with less public attention, which might affect its perceived impact on corruption. Overlap and the coordination between EFCC and ICPC. Now, there is an overlap in roles between EFCC and ICPC, leading to inefficiencies due to lack of coordination between the two bodies. Legislative and enforcement power. Now, while it has broad powers on paper, the practical application and enforcement of its laws can be lacking. We've seen situations where EFCC arrests this person and after some time nothing happens because they don't have so much power, to go ahead and prosecute people who were caught in offenses. Now we talk about high-profile cases. High-profile cases that have been handled by EFCC and ICPC combined. Okay. Number one, which tops the list remains, Dieza and Alice Madeke, the Wonder Woman who stole heaven and earth. We were wondering whether Abacha looted Nigeria to a full stop. Maybe she will be dragging the grounds with Abacha, who stole the most. But I know she is not the only person who stole. There are many more. We've seen the former central bank governor being arraigned. We've seen Serika and a lot of them. And some of them are walking free today. That is Nigeria for you. Remember, one law for the rich, one law for the poor. Now, the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, her case is emblematic of the challenges in fighting high-level corruption. Now look at how her case is. The allegation is she was accused of embezzlement, bribery, corruption, and money laundering during her tenure. Her arrest in London by the UK's National Crime Agency in 2015 on suspicion of these crimes highlighted international cooperation in tackling Nigeria's problem. The international bodies are always, helpful. Whether they are helping for help or helping for their own interest remains a case to be seen by another day. Let's go on. Because it seems like so many other countries have stakes in Nigeria, and those stakes are playing out. You say this is, revealing a lot. The US aid is revealing a lot now. We'll see in subsequent times. Later we'll talk about USAID. Now, outcome. Legal proceedings have been slow, with ongoing court cases in both the UK and Nigeria. The case illustrates the complexities and the dichotomies of prosecuting high-profile cases, including jurisdictional issues and the slow pace of justice, not just in Nigeria, around the world, especially when it's a high-profile person. There is always a slow pace, adjournment upon adjournment. Let's talk about whistleblowers, their successes and their failures. You know who whistleblowers are? Whistleblowers. Now their successes. Nigeria introduced whistleblower policy in 2016 to encourage reporting of financial misdeeds by offering a percentage of recovered funds. This has led to some high-profile recoveries, including cash and private residences. We've seen where somebody's house is stacked with billions of naira, sometimes dollars, inside somebody's residential apartments. Now, there is also a problem of awareness and reporting. There has been an increase in corruption reports, partly due to greater public awareness of the whistleblower initiative. But their failure is as big as their wins. Because despite legal frameworks, whistleblowers often lack adequate protection. You know what it means to go against the bad people. They will come, you go against them one way, they will come against you in 10 ways. Okay? Public trust. There is skepticism about the government's commitment to truly using whistleblower information to prosecute corruption. especially when high-profile cases seem to drag on, without resolution. It's always like this when it's a high-profile case. I said it, there is one law for the rich, one law for the poor. Now, in conclusion, while Nigeria has established institutions like the EFCC and ICPC to combat corruption, their effectiveness is undermined by political interference, judicial inefficiencies, and resources limitation. High-profile cases like Diaza and Madueke, like Emefiele, like the former governor of Kogi State, as alleged, Yahaya Bello, like the 5 officials from Katsina State Board of Internal Revenue who stole heaven and earth to the tune of trillions, like Olu Agunloye, former Minister of Power and Steel Development, who had a case of $6 billion fraud case, $6 billion, not naira, dollars, $6 billion. And then we had the case of Hadi Serika, who fooled the whole Nigeria with the Nigerian Airways. And some people were defending him on social media platforms. High-profile cases like Diazane, Alice and Madueke demonstrate both the potential and the challenges of this fight. Whistleblowers policy shows promise but require better implementation, especially in terms of protection for those who come forward. The ongoing narrative around these institutions and policies in Nigeria reflect a complex battle against corruption, where progress is often slow and fraught with setbacks. You want people to be whistleblowers. Those whose cases have been handled, how were they handled? That is the question we ask ourselves. I think today, Nigeria has got to a crossroad where we need to ask ourselves serious questions. The way we make noise about corruption, but nothing is done about corruption. I think the only people who bear the brunt of the fight against corruption are the poor, the innocent citizens, the powerless, people who are not in the political classes. If you are in the political class, your case is not, except you are an opponent. Except you are an opponent. Once again, thank you for listening, for watching. This remains the Diary of a Broken Man. Remember to subscribe, share, and comment to help us grow. See you on the next one. Cheers.